why this documentary? What's your passion in this?
I feel that cinematographers are still underrated at the moment, and I want to show the broad audience what a cinematographer does and how important his job is. Not only theoretical but really practical. So I want to follow a complete film production and to show everything that happens during the film production, viewed from the cinematographer's standpoint. And
how does Theo fit in?
Well, he's a cinematographer, and the nice thing about Theo is he's really very verbal, so he can, and he has thought a lot about his job. Not every cinematographer does it. You don't need to be able to explain what you're doing, even if you're very good at doing it. But he can also explain it. So he is really kind of an ideal subject, and I didn't really know that. I just admire his cinematography.
Is that the reason why you're using him in the film?
No, not really. It's just a bonus. I like him. He's a nice person. I like especially his cinematography. That's the reason. And I think he has done major productions here in the Netherlands, and he has been very important for Dutch cinematography. But he has also done more films in America than he has done here. So also for America, he's important. So there are a lot of facets in the film that I want to make.
But it started in the 70s with Theo, didn't it?
Yes, I saw the first film I saw of him was in 1974. I invited him to come to the Film Academy. I think it was 1977. I interviewed him in 1981 for my thesis for the Film Academy, and then we parted, so to say. I followed his career, and but it wasn't till 1986 that I thought it would be nice to make a documentary about him, because then he went to America. And but he was out of view, and I only found him again in 2011, and he agreed to let me make a documentary about him. Not only that, also to do it exclusively. I was a bit afraid that other people would steal my idea, and people with more influence, more money, etc.
But a lot of people have more influence and more money, but you are going to make this documentary.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I've always liked movies. I went to the cinema on my own when I was in high school, and I wanted to make movies, and I doubted whether I should be a director or a cinematographer. But I really wanted to tell the story with pictures, so I decided to study for cinematography. I did become a cinematographer, but of course not in the ranks of Theo van der Sande. But I think I know how a cinematographer thinks when he's making a feature film. So I think I'm the right person to ask the right questions. Cinematography has had a very large career, starting from 1905 with Billy Bitzer working for Griffith, and Greg Toland in the 40s, and cinematographers generally want to let's say to push the outside of the envelope, and they want to improve. And Theo is one of those cinematographers. He's a pioneer in spite of the fact that he's 70, and he's let's say at the forefront of new techniques. He's went very quickly to digital, and he prefers digital to analog at the moment. So he's a very interesting person to make a film about. And so my film is about Theo, but it's more even about cinematography, and cinematography is my passion, so it's logical that I want to make this film, and I've been wanting to do it for many years. And so I don't really want to make my funding totally dependent on subsidies, because a commission is going to decide about your application.
Yeah.
And generally, producers say, okay, if it's no, we'll take a different subject. And I don't want to make a film about a different subject.
No.
So, so I want to start with this crowdfunding and use this crowdfunding money as a leverage, let's say, to get funding subsidies easier.
Okay.
I hope it works that way. I have no idea. For me, it's a black box, whether you get subsidies or not. While during crowdfunding, you feel that you still have some kind of influence.
Yeah. Yeah. And but you still have to convince people to give you money.
Yeah. Well, it's a difficult part. You either need to find a large group which all gives you a little bit, 10 euros each, or you can find 3 people who each give you 5,000 euros. But I don't know anyone who would give me 5,000 euros. So, and on the other hand, finding, getting in contact with hundreds of thousands of people who to get a certain percentage that will give you 10 euros. It's
And
almost just as difficult.
Yeah, but if you reach this goal, what you gonna do with this money?
Well, first of all, I want to go to the States and to be able to interview people there, collaborators of Theo van Sande, but also other cinematographers. I would love to talk to Caleb De Jarnatt, or how you pronounce his name. When I started, in 2011, Gordon Willis was still alive. Phil Schickmont was alive. Haskell Wexler was alive. I wanted to interview all of them. And that's the thing with documentaries. Documentaries are a way of writing history. But you can only interview people who are alive.
Yeah, of course.
And you can only film cinematographers working when they're working and when they're still alive. As soon as they're gone, they're gone. And so that's a large part of my motivation to make documentaries at all. There are so many documentaries are made about subjects that have documentaries made about them for dozens of times, or hundreds of times. People make documentary number 105 about the same subject, and in the meantime, a lot of people die without having a documentary made about them. And I think I should change that. If it's in my power to make documentaries about people who deserve documentaries, and no one else does it, I think I should do it. And I know a lot about Theo van Sande, so I think I'm the one that should make this documentary. And I think someone should make a documentary about him and several other Dutch cinematographers, but also Belgian, French, American cinematographers. So there are so many people who deserve a documentary having made about them, which is really a pity that it doesn't happen.
Yeah. Well, your emotion shows your passion for the subject. Yeah.
Yeah, well, but I still need money to make it.
Of course, yeah.
I can do a lot myself, but
of course you need an amount of money to go to the States and to buy the film rights and that sort of thing.
Well, in the end, what will the big lump of the budget will probably film rights.
Yeah.
And I want to do it. I want to do it like it should be done. So I want to re-scan Theo's films in 4K. I want to. He agreed with me to do the color, or to oversee the color correction, which is valuable because he's still alive. You don't want a colorist or a film museum to remake the color correction the way they think he would have wanted it. No, he's still alive. He can do it himself.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So there are dozens of reasons to make this film.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm making it.
Okay. Some other words you like to say to the audience to convince they to give money to you?
I don't know.
No. Okay, that's good.
Well,
it says enough.
It's up to the audience. Yeah. There's so much I can do, and there's so much I can't do.
I wish you a lot of luck, success.
Thank you.
Theo reminds me of, Conrad Hall, who could shoot overly lit, great, beautiful movies, or he could do gritty, like Fat City. He could do, whatever was right for the material. There's great DPs like Gordy Willis. He shoots everything, long lens, dark, top soft, like that, and other DPs who always shoot the same style. I think Roger Deakins and Conrad Hall and Theo, because of their versatility. They'll go shoot with no budget, or they can shoot with $100 million. Doesn't matter. And even in this, there was a film, The Girl with the Red Hair. I remember this vividly. I think there was a big train station. It was a period film. And
well, I think that's very, very important to make a documentary on Theo van der Sande, because he's one of the few DOPs I know who has a constant quality in all the countries where he has shot films. In America, and if it's Bad Santa 2, or if it's high quality A films, it is also always a very strong own quality of filmmaking, which I think is very, very specific for Theo.
Yes, I do believe that it's very important to make a film, a documentary about Theo van der Sande, because he's quite an amazing filmmaker and cameraman, DOP. Has worked in Holland, I think in many other countries, and in the United States. A lot of people don't know about everything he did, so I think it would be a fabulous idea to do crowdfunding and to finance the film this way. I'm sure it will work.